Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into industrial waste.
Uh-huh.
And specifically, there's this company, GreenFlow.
Okay.
They say they've got this responsible and efficient way to dispose of waste.
Right.
And they're really pushing themselves as like the solution,
Yeah.
for all this industrial waste.
I see.
They keep using this phrase, streamlining waste management.
Hmm.
But we're going to unpack all that, right? See what's really going on.
Absolutely, because catchy slogans,
Right.
those only get you so far.
Exactly.
What I find really interesting here is they're promising to plant one tree
Yeah.
for every service they provide.
I saw that. The one tree planted thing.
It's a popular strategy these days, yeah, but we need to go beyond,
Yeah.
just the feel-good headline.
Right. Beyond the hype.
And actually look at how it works, practically speaking.
Yeah, because it sounds like they handle everything
It seems like
from like industrial byproducts to
Mhm.
some pretty serious chemicals, right?
Yeah.
And their website talks about creating these like really specific solutions
Right, yeah.
to make sure businesses are following all those regulations.
And that's such a critical thing in this industry, right?
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just, oh, we'll take your trash away.
Right.
You've got all these different kinds of waste
Oh, I bet.
and regulations that change depending on the business,
Mm-hmm.
where they are, all that.
Oh.
So starting with that customized approach,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a good sign.
So speaking of complicated,
Yeah.
their website breaks down their process.
Yeah.
And they start with this waste audit, right?
Right. So,
They figure out what a business is dealing with.
Right.
And then they do the collection, transportation.
sure.
Obviously, they talk about security and efficiency.
Sure.
But then it gets to the treatment methods.
Right.
That's where I'm really curious.
Yeah, me too.
Because they're really pushing these advanced treatment methods
Mm.
and how they're, minimizing environmental impact.
That's what I want to know more about,
Yeah.
because that's really where the rubber meets the road, right?
Exactly.
Everyone wants to be environmentally friendly these days.
Of course.
But what's the reality? What are they actually doing?
Right. What are the specifics?
What technologies? How are they treating it?
Well, they're a little vague on those details so far.
Mhm.
They mentioned zero emissions,
Okay.
using some kind of cutting-edge tech, and avoiding those, the harmful pollutants.
Right.
Plus, they have those special containers, right,
Yeah.
for different types of waste, like the flammable stuff, the toxic things you were talking about.
And that's where it gets really interesting,
Oh.
because zero emissions,
Yeah.
that's a bold claim,
It is, yes.
especially in this industry.
Right.
Even with the best tech, you need energy.
Sure.
And depending on how they're doing it, there are always emissions.
So it's more about minimizing then.
Exactly. Minimizing, not eliminating.
I see.
And that's why you need to, look a little closer.
Okay.
Ask them specifically how they do it, what they even mean by zero emissions.
Because there's different standards, right?
Exactly. Different ways of measuring.
So getting those details is important.
Very important.
Okay, so maybe we should be a little skeptical
A healthy amount, yeah,
when they say zero emissions.
definitely.
But what about the cutting edge tech?
Well, that's another thing you'll want to get specific
Like,
with.
what does that even mean in this case?
Right. Are they talking about incineration? Are they talking about landfills but with gas capture?
I've heard of that.
Or is it some completely new plasma technology?
Oh,
Each one has its pros and cons.
yeah, I bet.
But knowing what they're actually using gives you a much clearer idea.
Of the environmental impact.
Exactly.
It's like it's like a code or something.
Yeah.
Cutting edge, sustainable, all these
Right.
kind of buzzwords.
Yeah, it's tough because on the one hand,
Mm.
it is a complicated topic. And
Mm.
they're trying to make it easier to understand,
Sure.
but it also hides, what's really going on sometimes.
Exactly. And that's
Like, what are the details?
what's that word? Greenwashing.
Exactly. Greenwashing. You got to watch out for that.
Yeah.
Because some companies, they just use those words.
Right.
And they don't actually back it up.
Yeah. So how can someone listening, how
No.
can they cut through that? What should they ask?
I think don't be afraid to just ask.
Like be direct.
Yeah, be direct. Like, hey, you say advanced treatment methods.
Right.
What are they? Show me your emissions data.
Compared to like the industry average and all that.
Exactly. Ask about certifications. Have they been audited?
Oh, okay. So you really got to do your research.
Yeah, look past the marketing,
Yeah. Now, one thing they talk about a lot is compliance.
Right.
Like they
Ah.
really emphasize how their team is trained
Mm-hmm.
and how they're staying up to date on all the regulations.
And that's important because those regulations, they change all the
Oh,
time.
I bet, with waste and disposal and everything.
Constantly evolving, new tech, new rules, different standards.
Wow, it's a lot to keep up with.
It really is.
Yeah.
Especially with those hazardous materials. You got to be careful.
Yeah, because one mistake, then what? Fines, damage, lawsuits.
It can get messy fast. So yeah, they can say they're compliant.
Oh, we want to see the proof.
Exactly. Ask them, what's your training program like? How often do you update things?
That's a good point.
Have you had any issues before? You know, a company that's serious about compliance,
Yeah.
they'll show you what they're about.
Okay, so we've talked about the treatment and the rules, but what about this one tree planted thing?
Right, the trees.
They're going to plant a tree for every service, they say.
It's a good idea, don't get me wrong. Trees are important.
Yeah, of course.
But you gotta look at the bigger picture, right?
What does that mean?
Well, how many trees are they actually planting
Huh.
compared to, their impact on the environment in general?
I never thought of it like that.
And where are they planting these trees? Will they even survive?
That's true. They can't just be like disappearing after a week.
Exactly. So planting trees, good step, but it shouldn't be the only thing.
So it's kind of like a bonus.
Yeah, like a bonus point, not the whole game.
So what should people be looking for then?
Ask about their whole carbon footprint. How are they reducing waste in general?
Okay, it's about the whole picture, not just one part.
You got it.
You ask all the right questions. I'm learning so much.
Well, that's the goal, right?
It is. Now, they do have that FAQ on their website.
Right, the FAQs.
Maybe we can dig into that and see if it, clears some things up.
Yeah, those FAQs are great. People skip over them, but they're full of good info.
Okay, let me see. Here's one. What's GreenFlow's approach to minimizing its environmental impact?
Okay, let's hear it.
They say they follow the toughest regulations, use advanced tech to reduce waste and their carbon footprint, and they're committed to responsible disposal and always improving.
It's a start, but it's still pretty vague.
Like, what does toughest regulations even mean?
Right. Regulations depend on where you are, what kind of waste we're talking about.
True. It would be better if they, said which regulations they actually follow.
Exactly. And how they make sure they're doing it right in different places.
Good point. Okay, next question. How does GreenFlow ensure they're handling hazardous waste safely?
Important question.
They say they have this whole big safety program.
Okay.
Employee training, strict protocols, inspections, all that, and special containers and transportation to avoid, spills.
Okay, that's good. But again, it's pretty general,
What kind of training? How often do they do it?
Right. And what happens if there is a spill?
Yeah.
Do they have any certifications?
To prove they know what they're doing.
Exactly. It's all about the details.
It really is. All right, last one. This caught my eye. How do you figure out the better way to handle my company's waste?
Getting specific.
They say they, work with each client or figure out their needs, make a custom plan, considering the type of waste, the amount, regulations, all of it.
That's actually a really good sign.
Really? Why?
It means they're not trying to force everyone into the same box.
Oh, so they're actually trying to understand the business.
Yeah. They're taking the time to tailor the service, which is what you want.
So they're doing some things right, but they got to give us more details.
Exactly. This FAQ is helpful, but it's just the beginning. You got to use this to keep asking questions.
Like a starting point.
Right.
Yeah.
And those questions should be based on your company and what you need.
So they gave us a little taste.
The little sneak peek.
But now we need to see the whole picture.
The whole shebang.
And speaking of, what about the cost of all this?
The $1,000,000 question.
Because waste management, it can't be cheap. Right. That's what I want to know. Waste management can't be cheap, right?
Right. And they do mention pricing is, tailored,
Mm-hmm.
and they emphasize transparency.
Which is good.
Yeah, that's always a good sign.
But, there's no way it's as easy as just here's the price.
Right. No, absolutely not. No way.
Yeah.
Industrial waste. That's a whole process.
Okay.
And the price depends on so many things. What kind of waste is it? How much is there?
Right.
What do they have to do with it?
Yeah.
And where are you?
Location, location, location.
Exactly. So it's essential to really get into the nitty-gritty.
So what should our listener DO then? Should they be ready to haggle?
Haggling, maybe not. But having that open conversation about the money,
Yeah.
crucial.
Okay, so how do you even start that?
Ask for a breakdown of the costs. What's fixed? What changes?
Okay.
Are there extra fees for, the transport, the actual disposal, any permits or whatever?
Right, because those regulations probably come with a price tag, too.
Exactly. And then don't forget, you got to shop around.
Right, compared to other companies.
Yeah. Make sure they're being fair, but also that they're actually doing what they claim to be doing.
Right, keeping those standards high.
Finding that balance between good for the planet and good for your wallet.
I like it. Now, it's not all about the money, though, is it?
Very true. Don't forget about the relationship itself.
What do you mean?
How's their customer service?
Right.
Do you get hold of someone easily? What if something goes wrong?
Right. Stuff happens. Waste isn't exactly predictable, I'm guessing.
Nope, not always. So having that strong partnership, that open communication with the waste company, it's crucial.
Makes sense. Just like any business deal, really, you got to be able to work together.
Exactly. You want someone who gets your business, but also your values, right?
Being committed to sustainability and all that.
Yes. Not just someone who takes out the trash, but helps you make less trash in the first place. That's the goal.
So it seems like this deep dive on green flow has been kind of like a masterclass on waste management overall.
There you go. It's all connected, right?
Yeah, so don't just go for the first flashy ad you see, right?
Exactly. Understand the industry. Ask the tough questions.
Don't be afraid to get into the nitty-gritty.
Yes. And find a partner who's actually in it for the right reasons.
Not just trying to make a quick buck off our planet's problems.
Well, that got a little serious. But it's true.
It is. Okay, so as we wrap up, what's the key takeaway here for our listeners?
It's on all of us, right? To make smart choices about waste, how we make it, what happens to it.
It's finding the right people to help us do that.
Exactly. It's a team effort from your business to green flow to the planet itself. We're in this together.
I like it. A little collaboration goes a long way. Well, on that note, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Anytime.
And for everyone listening, keep asking those questions, and we'll catch you on the next one.